Hello and welcome to this video. And in this video I've built a little test centre basically to represent a house, to basically show you how to wire a domestic premises. So I hope this will help. And in this series of videos I'm going to use what I've built here and I'm going to show you how to wire a lighting circuit, the sockets, the showers, the smoke detectors, everything I can as possible. But for today it's going to be two-way lighting and an intermediate switch. And this is basically so you can see the whole lot of what we're doing when we go on. But I've also got a camera down here which will help me get a bit closer to if there's anything interesting that you need to see, like how the wiring goes along the hallway, along here, or maybe the two-way switching that goes up the stairs, the little stairs that I built. It's nice little stairs. Took me a little while to do that. So we're going to firstly, we're going to put the board up here with the tails coming out, which will go to the meter, and then we'll put a two-way light switch here that'll control the lights downstairs in the entrance hall, and then also the two-way lighting circuit, which will be upstairs. So let's get cracking. Right, so the first thing you want to do is make a plan. I always say, fail to plan, plan to fail. So what we're going to do is put the board here, and then we'll put a two-way light switch just here, which will control, basically when you go up the landing, you obviously want to switch just at the top of the landing to be able to switch the lights on. So then this will be a two-way switch up here. But then we want to also control it over, I don't know if you can see, let's get this camera, this is what this is for. We also want to switch it over here. So we'll put a two-way light switch over here. There we go. Which in effect, this will make this one an intermediate. So we're going to have one intermediate, a two-way and a two-way. So let's start wiring. And the lights in the hallway, we're going to put, because it's quite a big hallway, I've built quite a big house. So there's going to be a light switch there, a pendant, sorry, there. And then we'll have another pendant over here. And then in the hallway that goes to the master bedroom, get this camera again, we'll have another pendant over here. So let's get them nice and symmetrical. Basically off there, 10. Off there, 10. That was good, near enough spot on that one. That one, and 10. So that's where the pendants are going to go for the landing lights. But I'm not going to put hallway lights in this. That'd be too hard. So what I'm going to put hallway lights is in up here. So we'll also want a hallway light up here. And this will be your hallway light. So let's start with putting the board on. And what we've got here is, what is it? A main switch, 6-way board. Get the board out. And what the hell's that? Bit of cardboard. So we'll unpack it. Brand new, fresh board. Put on the wall. And it's got the main switch. And what we've got in here as well is the little clamps for the 25mm. And the buzz bar and everything in this pack. So we'll take the board to bits to start with, because it's easier to work with. Get rid of this little bit of gel, keeps it dry. So I want to just whip the board out to start with, because it makes it easy. I don't want to damage anything, so I'll take the isolator out. There we go. And then what we're going to do is do these knockouts. And these knockouts will go on this board. These knockouts will feed the cables. Basically, it'll go into the wall, into the dot and dab, whatever, or into the plaster, whatever the house that your wiring's got, and into the floorboards. That way. So what we're going to do, Just bang them out like that, nice and simple. Caught my hand. But then this is a bit of a jagged edge, but we'll do something about that. So first things first, let's put the board up. So we're going to put the board over here. Every house is different, so you have it at different heights. That camera is spastic. So we're going to put the board in here. Obviously get your level on it. This is a bit of a bigger board for this house, but we'll get it nice and level. See this? And mark the holes out. What you're going to do, and whilst you're there as well, mark out where you're going to fix it. So this is going to be where we're going to fix the board. I'm going to mark out where I'm going to put two-way switch. So that will go there. Which for this, we're going to use plasterboard fast fix boxes. Get them nice and level to cut them out. Obviously that's at the bottom of the stairs. So put that up there. So that's you're going to need a two-way switch at the bottom of the stairs, and then we want to go to the top of the stairs. In a domestic premises, you can do them to the new wiring regs. If it's a new build or a new installation, in effect, you've got to do it to the new wiring regs heights. But in a existing house, maybe where they've got all the light switches at a certain height, you don't want to go ahead and put them like at a different height. Say you put another switch in, you put it at a stupid height, the customer's not going to be happy with that. You are allowed to put them at the same height as the existing. But if you're rewiring the house, it's always better to put them at the actual new height for switches and sockets. So let's do this as well. Right, so now we've got them marked out, the two-way switches, two-way and intermediate, sorry, and then marked out for your ceiling roses. So all we're going to do now is cut them out. And what I cut them out with is a multi-tool. Find it perfect to cut these out. So, I don't know if this is going to work. We'll try it. So we're going to cut out the multi-tool. And we're going to cut it out a little bit bigger than these holes. So then we're going to put some strip on this. Just give that away. We're going to put some strip on this to protect the cables when you pull them in. Right, so with this one, I'll hit the joist, but we can go through with the other one, which will be fine because that's all we need. But I like to cut them both out for your future because we've got the holes there, so it'll be good. So then, fixing the board up. This board I'm going to use plasterboard fixings. I might not need them in some of the joists. So I like to use these little pigtails. We put this back up here so you can see. So I'll just put these little pigtails in. Well, what I didn't do is I'm going to cut the switches out while they're there. These, I'm just cutting them out on the line that I've marked because it should fit perfectly inside that gap, nice and neat. You've got a little bit of play because there's a bit of a lip on this box. but just cut them out perfectly to the line that you've marked when you cut around your socket. So let's cut this one out. And then one more. There we go, that's cut all your switches out, ready to install. If you look, these fit in there perfect. Now I'm going to wire it first, so just to check, there we go, spot on, get in there. Oh, lovely, nice and tight fit. Right, so then now, this grommet strip, this is the strip. It gets in a right mess, so we're just gonna have to go with it. Right, but this little strip is just to protect, if you can see on there, to protect around the edge of this board, because obviously cables, they can get caught. It's not fantastically sharp because it's a knockout, but it's nice to have something to protect it for when the cables go round or go through even. It's just to make that thing a little bit neater. So you cut the length, and you've got two of these, two holes in the back, so just cut exactly the same. What I'm going to do with this grommet strip, because it falls off all the time, is put a bit of this bonding sealant stuff on it, just to make it sit properly. Ow. Right, only a couple of dobs, maybe at each end. Go in there, in there. Come up, in there, and then, it's a bit tricky. There we go. In there. And then it's nice fit. Just take this one. In there. It's nice one to just fall back. Hold on, hold on. That's one off. Put this in there. Obviously you've got four. That's trying to. Very nice. Just come out. Just think. There we go. Right. I'm going to put the board on now, because it'll come off. I always use my mouth to fix this board up. Right. So let's do this once again. I'm going to fix this board up here. That's one. And there we go. The board is on, the wires are cut out. So what we want to do now is, first thing is to put the tails for these, and you want to clamp these on. This is just clamp your tails onto the board. Yeah, wrong screwdriver. So you just got to remember to put your tails through them when they go on. Yeah, not do them up too tight. But there's two little screws, and these boards, because Luden boards, and it's a Luden clamp. So get it in there. There we go. Spot on. And now we can put the main isolator in, 100 amp isolator for the board. So we'll stick that back in and tuck this up first for the neutral to go nice and neat behind. There we go. And we'll torque them up once we get them on in. Knock that off because you don't want that on for now. But the good thing about this as well is that it will keep your isolator in the right place. Because it does move, then later on you can't get your lid cover on. Because if it moves around and you can't get your lid on, it's always a bit wonky. So that clamp will keep that in the right place where it's meant to be, and that'll be perfect for when you fit the lid cover on later on. So we'll start off with the neutral. And this is going to be a little bit easier than it did in the house, yes, I know, but it's going to be the same effect. So what we want to do is bend it over so it goes in there nice and neat. So if we obviously wire it from the mains, we go straight up. We just want to get that sheath off there. It's double insulated, so getting both off. As you can see, that's stupidly long, but when you bend it, all the copper inside it moves. So to get the best connection, bend it, but chop it off a lot. Well, chop it off a bit more than you need to, and then you can always bend it into shape where you want it to go and chop it off. And then, in theory, he says, should go straight in. There we go, push it down as much as you can and just nip it up for now with your screwdriver, so no copper showing basically. That's the last thing you want. So that looks pants, and you'll have everyone commenting on your YouTube video saying you left copper showing. Right, so then let's do the live. Obviously this is feeding straight from the board, from the main head, sorry. So we're doing the same, so we're going to form it in. You want to get it nice, pull plenty through, and that's it. So then we'll get plenty off it again, more than what we need, because all them coppers, if you can see on there, they sort of bend, and you don't get as good a connection. So bend it first and then chop it off. And then go straight into the isolator. Tell you what, that clamp's a bit tight. Let's loosen her up a bit. There we go. If you can see on there, you get that in there nice and neat. So plenty to go in. So you cannot see any of the copper basically. Right. Well, that's kept it tight. So now, so what I'm going to do it up with this. There we go, we'll top that all up as well with it. But we can't forget the earth. I've got to put this in as well. So then this goes through the same hole. A lot of people sometimes think, oh, the hole's not big enough, so we'll shove the earth through a different hole. No, you get eddy currents. You've got to have them through the same hole, because that'll also fail your EICR. So make sure that your earth, live, and neutral all go through the same hole. So there you go. The better you form it in to make it look a bit neater, you can see that. Whereas it makes your life easier in the long run. So then you can have your cables coming through there, or you could obviously drill that out and come through there. But we've got a hole big enough there. See, that's stayed on. You grab it. Right, I'm just going to torque up the live and neutral. There we go. Just gives you a little click, and that clamp as well. You probably don't want to torque that clamp up, it'll bend straight in. But then that's the earth as well. There we go. So with the downlights, what I'm going to do, I don't do it all the time, but it's handy, is to put a little circle box in, because I just sometimes don't like seeing the cables coming through. So I put a little circle box in, and it makes it easier to fix the ceiling rows up. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Put these circle boxes in. Pop this out. Another ceiling rose here. True electrician style, throw it on the floor. And another one here. There we go. True electrician style. But then we're going to have another light down here as well, which we just put one ceiling rose up for. So there we go. Because sometimes when you cut a hole in the ceiling, and yeah, you'd like to fix it on a joist, but you don't hit a joist, and that's exactly where you want it. So this is another advantage of these little boxes. I like to put them in, they look nice and neat, and it makes it easier for you to fit the ceiling rows up later on. So then now we want to wire it, and what we're going to wire it in from the board, it's going to be twin and earth 1.5. So I'm going to wire it how I wasn't taught at college, but how I figured out over the years that I think is a better way, because people change them to downlights, they change all their ceiling lights, and I hate seeing the junction boxes inside the ceiling. So rather than putting the junction boxes inside the ceiling, the junction is all down here, and it makes it a lot easier for testing if everything's at the switch, like the live, earth and neutral. So that's what I'm going to do here. And obviously mark them as you go along. So that'll be your live and neutral. And don't be shy with cable, you will see scrap on the floor, so leave plenty on it, because you want to be able to form it and get it nice and neat inside that board. Obviously that was easy getting the live in, it's different. So then now we need the live up to the lights, and what I'm going to do that in is 3-core, for many reasons that will come to light later on, but that's what I like to do, sort of thing now. Just it's a little bit extra for 3-core, but it's better in my eyes. Right, and then this is going to make it easier if I do it from here. So the hallway lights. Then we'll label that up as well to the switch. And a pocket of miles, won't they? So we've got that going to the first light. Colours. So there we go, that's to the first light. And then basically from this light, you just want to carry on to the rest. So that's just the carry-on feed, going to be completely exactly the same to the next light, because all these lights are going to work off the same switch. So that's the lights wired. Now we want to wire the switching side of things, because we also want a switched live to go out to the hallway light, which could also, it says, up to here. So then you want to label that as well. Hallway. So this one's landing. Let me put that on there. That one's landing. And that one's the hallway. And then these, you put these in now, so we'll hold the cables in place. Knock them out. So now what we want to do, keep saying and now, is the switching side of things. So we want this to go to the first switch. Right, so this is going to work with your two-way and intermediate. So this is your two-way. So this is going to be for your two-way switch. So we're going to pull this out here. But then we want to carry it on to the other switch. So then basically we've got the two-way coming out of there into that, which is going to be our intermediate. So you've got 3 cores in there, and then 3 cores over here, which will also be your two-way switch. Right. So then now we've got all the wires in, well, that's basically wired. Each switch over there is quite self-explanatory if you know what you're doing. That's a two-way, that's an intermediate, this is, but down here, this is the two-way. You want to label the two-way switch, two-way wires even. Because you've got a few more switches inside that box. Now, let's put our boxes on. And again, these plastic boxes, just knock them out with a pair of cutters or a screwdriver. It's quite easy. So we'll fit this one in here. It's going straight through. And like I said, slides in there beautifully. Clips in. Then little knockout. This is nice and easy. Right, and then this one has quite a few cables in. It's got the live and neutral coming in, it's got your hallway lights going out, and it's got your two-way light switch to the upstairs, and obviously your switch live to the lights that go up there. That one is a nice tight fit, which is always good. It's not going to slide out. One more, up here. If you can see that over there. And these just, and if you look at these just sit in, push them right in, clip them in, pull them forward, and they fit perfect. There we go, I think we saw that. Look, there we go. And they're nice and neat and in there. Same as these boxes as well. So firstly then, for the lighting circuit, I'm going to fit ceiling roses. And they come with a ceiling pendant on there, but I always like to take them out because it just makes your life a little bit easier. We go now, so we've just got these to fit up, and they should go beautifully in there to the little boxes. Right, so these ceiling roses you can just fix straight up into the box with a 3.5 screw. Because then it pinches down on the plasterboard and holds it in place. And with these 3.5 screws, yeah, they take its toll. Oh, sugar. They take its toll on you, so just snip them up with a screwdriver. There we are, perfect. But getting started with a screwdriver and then just nip them up nice and tight with the drill driver to get into the ceiling. Because if you try and start them with that drill, it'll cross thread them, and then if you ever have to take them down, it will be a nightmare because the boxes will be stuck. So yeah, don't start them with a drill, because yeah, if it cross threads them, you're not going to know. You can feel it when you do it with the screwdriver, or even with your fingers. So then now we've got them all in, ready to second fix. And if you pull them through just that little bit more out of here, then you can be right on here, so you can terminate them. And once you've started terminating them, you still know what they are. The switches, these are sort of self-explanatory. You can write on them if you want. And these are sort of, you know what they are. They can't be anything else. But the other ones, down here especially, I would pull them through and right on them. So we want haul, two-way up, up, landing, and then live and neutral in. You're going to know what that is because that's the only one that's got live and neutral. You're going to know what that one is because that's the only one with a twin, like a live and neutral. The other one a 3-core. So that's a bit better as well when you pull them in. So then basically now you want to terminate them. Doesn't matter what tools you use, they all do the same thing. But some things make your life a little bit easier. True Sparky fashion, on the floor. And then because you're an electrician, you more than likely got this stuck to your belt or trousers. So cut them all the same length. In these boxes, in a metal box, make sure they're nice and long, because the last thing you want to do is not be able to reach the terminal in the corner. But obviously with these, I'd say all the switches, what I'm going to do, 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't do that one, we missed that one. Right, so what we got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the switches, we've got 7. I've got doubled up on here, so we can do decent length inside that box. 2, 4, keep them all the same length, just look nice. 6, 7. Right, so we'll stick the earths on. And now for the ceiling roses. How many we've got of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's do the same, but they want to be a little bit shorter because they're inside the ceiling rose and there's not a massive distance to go. If you look at this, you can try to come out of there straight into that terminal. So there's not a massive distance to go. Why is that red on there? Don't know. But there's not a massive distance to go, so you don't want them, you want them as, I don't know, I don't think you'd want them as long. So I'll do them a little bit shorter. Stick them up as well because they'll only fall off. Right, and then the 3 core that we've got in there, the grey and the black on the switch lives are going to identify as a live. So identify it by putting your sleeving on, which we want. How many do one of these then? Hang about. 2 of these 3 cores in here will have a neutral on, which will put that on the grey. But the black will be common. So we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Bleeding neck, my view. Right. In the ceiling roses as well, these blacks cables are going to be a permanent live for something later on in the future, but also in case anyone comes along later on, because all these smart lights sometimes they want to control them with their phone. So if you've got a permanent live up there, especially if someone wants to come and put a fan in, if they've got a 3 core up in their bedroom and they like to have a live up in the ceiling, and then so you can have, because then you can put the fan up, which will be a permanent live, which will be controlled off the remote control, but then the switch for the light can also be controlled from the light switch still. So it leaves it sort of, you're open for every eventuality, because if you've done a good job, you're going to be the one to get called back. So if you wire it with a 3 core to the ceiling rose or to the lights, then you've got the live up there as well. So that is what I'm going to do. This is exactly how I wire it. So then let's connect up these ceiling roses. So we want to keep all the same distance so it looks nice and neat. So we'll get this on there. And then we just want to get the ends off of these. What we haven't done is put blue sleeving on the neutrals, which we should also do. Right, and then on the grey cables coming out the switch and in the ceiling roses, only the switch down here, because the rest of them in the switches will be lives. So we want to identify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Your blues identified. And now we've got them cut to the right length. What I want to do as well is in the terminals in the ceiling rows, they're going into their own terminal. If there was 2 cables going in there, then I wouldn't bend them over because they wouldn't fit. So because there's only 1 cable going into each terminal, bend them over to get a better connection. So then we want to get the earth in to start with. So you bend it round nice and neat. Nope, don't put it all the way through because that would just be stupid. You want to get it so that gets it on there beautifully. Make sure it doesn't go all the way through, and you clamp it down on the sleeving because it'd be pointless. It won't do its job. So then there we go, tighten that up in there. This neutral, you want to pull it out a little bit. Sleeving's a bit long, but better being too long than too short. And go for the second one in. So then now we want to put in the RCBO that's going to protect that lighting circuit. And we're going to put this inside the board. As you can see, it clicks in nice and neat into there. Then we've got to get the neutral to that bar and the neutral and the live in there. So let's connect this up. And it's going to be into number 1. There we go. And then inside here, like I said, we will bend these over. Leave plenty of slack, leave like nice and long inside the board because you don't know if anything will change in the future, and if it's you, it will make your life easier. So that into number 1. So it will look nice and neat in there. Once you've got them all in, you can form them nice and neat. And then down. Use the space behind the RCBO to bring the cables nice and neat into the terminals. Get your torque screwdriver once again to torque them up to make sure they're nice and neat, nice and tight, nice and neat. There we go, nice and tight, and then now you can form them in once you've done to look nice and neat coming out of that RCBO. And obviously once you've got all your cables in, it'll make it look a lot neater. But now we need the buzz bar along the bottom. So then with these buzz bars as well, when you're putting them in, make sure that they go in the actual terminal, because sometimes people put them behind and then it will start arcing and you get faults later on. So make sure that it's on perfectly, and then torque them up once again. There we go. There we go. Don't forget to put this on. A lot of the time you put the cover on, you think, where the hell's this gone? It's here. I probably wouldn't put your cover on after you've done your testing of your RCEDs and labelled it and everything. But for this video, the whole circuit's on a plug top, so it doesn't matter. So we put the board on. So then that's your board on. I know I could do another video on testing when we've got a few more circuits in there. So then I can say, right, this is how you test the whole lot. But for now, we're just doing the two-way and intermediate switching. So basically, now we're in a position where we're ready to turn it on. After we've done your R1, R2s, your installation resistance, and just to check. So then now, you want to put your pendants back up. One more pendant, the last to go up before we put the lamps in. And final tests. There we go. So now we need 4 lamps. Well, now we're ready to turn on. I've got some LED lamps. So this one is going to be your hallway. And then this one will be the landing. I've only got 2 lamps. So let's put this in the middle so we know this one's okay. Right. So then we'll switch on the MCB. And then down here, we want this one to do the hallway light, which will be down here. So it's upside down. Right. So then that one is the landing. So switch that off. This one wants to, so you come in the house and this one is your hallway light. Da-da, there we go. So that's your hallway light, that's on. It's an LED when it's trying to colour change. Stupid thing. Right, so that's on. Right, so then we've got your hall. Let's knock it off for now, just do my head in. We'll sort that out a bit. So then we've got your two-way lights. You come in, you're going upstairs. You want to turn your light on. Well, your lights are on. But hang about, you got to the top of the stairs, you're going into your bedroom, you want to turn it off. You can turn it off at the intermediate. But then you come along to the other bedroom, you come out that bedroom, you want to turn it on. So you can turn it on. So this is two-way switching for each light. So then now all you want to do is second fix all your switches back. Oh no, before you've done that, you want to run a loop test, maybe on the end of line, which testing is a whole new video. It could be here forever if we started doing a testing video. So yeah, so you loop test it. That has to be your last test and your functional test, obviously, as well, to make sure that that RCD trips. RCBO even. So let's put the sockets back on to make it look nice and neat. So then we're all on. Nice and straight. Right. Let's get rid of that. So then now, well this, right, hang about, let me just show you this. The switch wants to be like that, basically. That's in the off position. Once you press it on, that should look like that. So if it's upside down, it's wrong. So that's your hallway lights. But then some people say, oh, I wanted all the switches to be like this, all nice and neat. Because sometimes they go upstairs and it ends up being like that when they're on. Or it ends up being like that, so you've got to switch it on. But then it's because it's two-way or intermediate. You just go to the other end of the hall and switch it off. So with these lights, and what I'd like to do as well, I'd normally test, if you want to loop it, test at the end of line. So as you can tell, all the lights work. That stupid one keeps flashing because it's picking up the Wi-Fi, or trying to pick up the Wi-Fi. But then this is what we want to do. Say someone comes in the house, along here, switches the hallway light on, don't matter, there's no bulb in that, but switches the landing light on because they're going up the stairs. Fantastic. So go upstairs, there's no lamp in that one either. So they're going up the stairs, and they get to the top of the stairs, they can turn the light out from there. But then, hang about, someone else is going that way. You want to go into that bedroom now, the master bedroom. So you turn the light on, come along down here, but then you go in bed. You don't want to leave the landing lights on, so you can turn it off. So this is where a two-way light comes into effect. Two-way with an intermediate. So that's your two-way. So that's two-way, intermediate, and then at the end of your two-way. So that's two-way and intermediate switching. And I hope this helps. And with this sort of test centre what I've got set up here. I want to do other videos that help you. So let me know in the comments what are the videos you'd like to see. Maybe some smoke detectors, maybe a shower being wired, a ring main into the kitchen, a cooker supply, anything. Even how to wire an SPD into a board. The only thing you can't ask me is how to clear up. So I'm not going to show you the floor, it's a right mess. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you soon.